can help lift there, Jesse?
I'm lifting a little bit, but I can't. I'm trying to hold this forward.
Okay, well, I don't know if...
Where are we going? Where are you going? Up. Get on edge. Pull. There you go. Well, we're off to a rocky start. Apparently it's impossible to flip a panel over. And to answer our question whether one person can lift a panel or not, the answer is no. So this panel's already dented, creased, because it's so floppy on the ends that as soon as you lift it, it basically just bends over and self-destructs. So fast forward 1 hour, and between the three of us, we've come up with a solution to get the roofing on the roof.
A solution worth testing, that is. We're not saying it's guaranteed to work, we're gonna try it.
We have thought through 50 solutions, and it seems like we can find solutions that get the roofing loaded onto the man lift, and we can find solutions that get the roofing onto the roof, but finding one that does both doesn't make any sense.
The challenge is that these panels are so long and they're not corrugated. They do have striations, but they're not corrugations, so that they're so floppy. You borderline need 3 people to move them, and as you see, Jesse just picked it up, it went flop, and it put a permanent dent in it. So we feel that we have to be very, very diligent to predictably get these panels up on the roof, and then in the vertical position without doing damage or being susceptible to wind, that type of stuff.
We've thought about ropes and all kinds of stuff. We've been through the Egyptian methods, the nomadic methods, the Australian methods, the Canadian methods.
Some people use a crane, but that's not an option. That's like probably plan Z. Seems a little overkill.
Yep. So it sounds like our plans for today are getting revised, and our only goal today is to figure out how to predictably get the roofing panels up without damaging them, without risking wind, and without stress, I guess. So the girls are going to knock out a pallet, and we're going to build a contraption. Doesn't that sound fun? You'll have to stick around and find out what the contraption is, but maybe it'll work. I guess it's worth mentioning that we did consult with a lot of different people to figure out how they do it. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. The problem is the way everyone else does it's not an option for us. Like Alyssa mentioned, some people use a crane. Roofing companies probably use their roofing truck, which kind of defies gravity in a different way. We don't have all that stuff, so here we are.
But first, just in case Ann and I build a pallet like really fast and Jesse's not back yet, we're gonna go over hemming the panel, because maybe Ann and I can kind of move panels and hem panels.
Yeah, it just needs to be done because we don't want to put any panels on the roof that don't already have the hem on them. Hemming them on the roof would be really difficult just because they're so long and it's so steep and all that stuff. So what I know is that a couple things. One, we want an 1.5 inch total cutback, and that will produce a 1 inch hem. 1.5 inches will produce a 1 inch hem, and we have a 1 inch hemming tool. And I think the bend is what takes up the other 1/2 inch. Then what are these called? The ribs. The ribs need to be removed at that distance. So once this is cut back 1.5 inches, then this will get notched up and back, and then a 1/2 inch is left on this face, and that gets turned in to close the end of the panel. And it's just a nice detail. So I guess let's just try one. And otherwise this side just gets snipped off. I think this rib just gets snipped off at 1.5 inches. Alyssa makes a good point. We should probably step back and kind of explain what the heck we're doing, because it may not make sense. So on the eave, there are 2 ways to deal with the end of the panel to secure it so that wind does not get underneath the panel. The most common way, it seems like, for a lot of people is what's called direct fastened or exposed fastener. It's real simple. You punch a hole through the end of the panel and you basically direct fasten it straight to the substrate. The only thing is you have exposed screws. In snow country where there are exposed screws, it is my opinion, and you can disagree with me if you want, that exposed screws on the end of the roof is the dumbest thing ever. Because where does ice build up and slide? The end of the roof. And so I've had people tell me that the screws don't get ripped out, they don't get damaged. You know what? I don't want to find out. How's that? Like, I don't want to have a debate whether the screws at the end of an eave come out or not. So we're going to do, really? It's got stung.
Nice.
Sorry, buddy.
You guys both got stung today. I'm next.
What? Like they're...
No, I think they're going after the water.
God.
Because I got it over on the porta potty door.
So this is why we didn't start our roof right away, because we didn't have the necessary hardware to do a hidden hardware roof. So it looks something like this. If this is the roof substrate, let's draw A. A would be you put the roofing on, you put a screw through the roofing, it's attached to the substrate, you're done, you go back about your business. A hidden hardware roof requires one additional piece of hardware called an offset cleat. And it looks something like a Z shape. And we will fasten the offset cleat to the substrate, and then the end of the roofing panel will be hemmed or bent so that it locks into this cleat. And there's no hardware here. It's simply the bend in the panel that keeps it engaged to the cleat, and the cleat is fastened to the roof. So each one of our panels will have to be hemmed on the end. According to the roofing detail, to create the 1-inch hem, you need a 1.5 inch cut. So let's mark that off. Easiest thing to do is probably going to be able to create a template so we don't have to worry about it. And we're supposed to field cut the rib back and cut the rib off, and that will allow the metal to bend around. So this will get trimmed back to 1.5 inches.
Is this the right side of the panel to cut?
It is correct, yep.
Wrong side of the panel, guys. It's just shaping up to be one of those days.
This is why I didn't want to do this roof. Like I've been dreading this project because it's just like, it seems like par for the course. This whole house is like the hardest house ever built by 2 people. Like everything has to be freaking complicated, but oh well, we'll figure it out. It'll be over soon, I guess.
On second thought, we're good, guys. This is the panel that's already kind of bent, so we're just deciding, you know what, this is gonna go on the side of the house that ain't no one gonna see ever. So back with plan A, finishing the hem on this side.
So after a lot more talking, we've realized that we may be able to do the roof without trimming a first and the last panel and still make the roof centered, making our life a whole lot easier. But let's see if we can get this piece of the roof hemmed, and then all we need to do is field cut the ribs off and we should be in business. I'm hoping that we can just center this and it'll all hem at one time. Doesn't that sound wishful?
So you cut 1.5 inches, but you're only hemming 1 inch?
Mm-hmm. Because you need metal for the bend.
Right.
You want a full 1-inch hem. I'm sort of paranoid that the striations are going to negatively affect our ability to hem this panel.
That's pretty good. So there's your little... Wow, that's so sexy. These roof panels come with like a layer of plastic for protection.
By the way, it's one in the middle and one too bad.
So this one, was it already taken off or was there not one there?
There wasn't one right there. Just on
Weird.
this edge, and so it must be
Weird.
where the rollers are on the machine. Oh, see this one? Oh, it's okay, yeah. I think taking the time to get this process figured out is really important, so everybody's super clear. It's something that's going to have to be done to every single panel.
That's way better. There we go.
Good job. Maybe later we'll build an airplane. Too soon, too soon. Start from one side and work it on there. There you go. Let's support that somehow. And then bend it around, yep. Hold on, that's creasing. So
Right.
the striations are definitely fighting you. Very nice. Yeah, it looks good. Good enough.
And move her down.
Yep, and then just move it over and try to kind of finish the edges and make sure that it's all the way, make sure it's all the way on. There you go. Yep, I think the crimpers are the only way you're going to finish that corner.
Right, probably this one.
That hemming tool is not going to do it. Metal's funny that way. Metal does not bend the way you think it would.
Wow, just slice my finger open. It's pretty good.
Okay, well that was fun. So now we need to work on getting the ribs removed and the female rib kind of tidied up to close up the end of the rib. Yep. If you close that hem up, I'll bet it'll be good. Not bad. Better than my first one. Yep, and then we can just do a little finish on that with like a hammer or a pair of pliers or something to kind of bend the corner more firm.
And then do we want to put caulking once it's up there?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll just caulk it closed.
Okay.
Looks more finished, I think,
It does.
than just having it open.
Yeah, I mean you're not really gonna be able to see it, but it's every little thing, right?
It's more work, but yep.
It's pretty good cut.
Yikes. Yep.
Roofing initiation.
Should have warned you about sheet metal. Sheet metal is a beast.
Well, I knew, but my finger just slipped and then it came back, right?
Yep.
So what are you supposed to do? Like you're trying to move this on the bottom, right? And it doesn't go, and then it goes.
Sheet metal. You got to respect it. Stuff will slice you wide open.
Cool.
Good job. Survived your first panel hemming.
Yeah.
68 to go.
It's not bad once you know what to do. So it's just about,
And
I'm
learning,
sure it gets very fast.
just learning to work with the materials, right? This is a whole different material. How much metal's in our house? Practically none.
Yeah, not
So
that
now,
doesn't count.
now we have a whole
Very
new
different
skill.
roof.
Yep. Well, I think if you guys kind of understand what to do with hemming panels, it would be probably time efficient to have you guys hem panels while I'm out.
Yep.
And then when we get back, we'll start trying to figure out how to get these monkeys on the roof.
Yeah.
And get a Band-Aid. Pretty good pallet. That's a pretty dang good pallet. Let's test it for the whack test.
That's pretty good. Not bad, Alyssa. What you working on?
Better than my belt. Belt always wants to come undone. That's pissing him off.
Oh, what is it? A 14.
I think Bugaboo's hunting. But what'd you do?
Perfect. It'll work.
Oh my goodness, guys. Are you ready to test?
Yeah.
Put it on the forklift?
Yep. We gotta tighten it down too, so we'll do that on the forklift.
This looks like the world's greatest teeter-totter. It's pretty good.
Sure has that rickety clamp it look. Looks like it fit right in North Idaho, that's for sure.
What is it? Is it a dumb idea if it works?
Right. If it works.
Hey y'all, hold my beer, watch this.
We don't really want to have to monkey with the forks every 2 seconds because we're going to be basically going back and forth between the man basket and this contraption. So I'm tempted to put it on a pallet or to build a third or a second level, you know, to it.
49's right here.
We're gonna make it.
Got half an inch.
The boss says we're good.
Look at where the bolts are. Holy smokes. It's
Got half an
holy
inch.
cow.
People that tell us good news are invited back to the property.
There you go. Yep. Down. There you go. You got it, man.
Woohoo! Wow, that's exciting. Nice. It's freaking rad.
You know what this is? This is a prototype for a Bugaboo ramp.
Oh my god.
So he can just go from the ground, but see, when he comes inside, he'll trip a lever and the ramp comes up, kind of like a castle,
Oh yeah.
so no other cats can get in. We just
Yeah.
have to teach him to pull the lever to raise the castle door so that no other cats can get in.
Yeah.
Or
He
raccoons
would
or-
love that.
Yeah. We'll paint a moat. We'll just paint a moat around here. Not a real one, we'll just paint one.
Ah, balance out the other side. Whee!
We're good, we're good, we're good.
Wow. That's freaking balanced, guys. So
Come on,
balanced.
there's a bee on the end.
Oh no. If this doesn't earn you pizza, I don't know what does.
Maybe we should wait to see if it works
Yeah.
before we start feeding people. It's pretty hillbilly. This is why people used to die when they were 32. Because of
Exactly.
this.
Right? So if you guys weren't able to put 2 and 2 together as to how this contraption works, in theory, let me tell you. So in getting these panels on the roof, we feel that we have to sort of mimic the angle of the roof, which is 45 degrees, because anything else, the panels are so flimsy that they're almost guaranteed to bend in the middle, which we don't want. So in theory, when we raise the forklift up, Jesse and I will be standing on the platform here, and then this contraption is pretty much balanced, so Anna can either be pulling with the rope on the bottom or Jesse and I can be pushing up here. And once it's suspended, we're gonna match the angle of the roof, and then someone at the peak of the roof should be able to pull the panel up the same angle. That's the theory, at least. But what we're finding so far is it's really hard to just stack the panels one on top of the other, because if you drag them at all, they scratch the paint. So these are our 2 test panels. We shouldn't need them, so it's okay if they get a little dinged up and scratched. But that's why we're working with these panels and not like the final panels, right? Let's see if I can show you this gouge mark. You guys can kind of see it. See that white mark? That happened with being very delicate with the panels, and we just drug it a tiny ways. So all that we just did, which is freaking annoying. We're also gonna have this problem when we're up there pulling the panel up the roof. So we're thinking the person at the bottom might be able to put some cardboard on the edges so nothing sharp is gonna gouge the panel on its way up. But at this point, we're not gonna worry too much about that. We wanna continue testing this contraption to even see if it's viable. Yes, we have a good half day into this project so far, but we just don't see a better way that works on both the west side of the roof and the east side of the roof. Well, we got it to a 45-degree angle and nothing bad happened. Pretty scary, not gonna lie.
I think the thing to do is till we kind of test out other things, to put the forklift in the middle of the roof and raise this up and position it so that it's basically where the roofing goes. And then have somebody at the peak and somebody on the pallet lift the roofing off onto the roof so that the roofing is fully supported on the roof, basically where it goes.
So you just pull it off, you don't slide it off?
Well, the both of you are gonna have to pull gingerly on the ends because nobody's gonna be in the middle.
Right.
Or we put the ladder on the ends and somebody's in the middle-ish on the ladder reaching out and pulling it basically onto a cleat on the roof. And I think we just leave the forklift where it's at. I mean, once we get it positioned and we just raise roofing up. We basically carry the roofing over, set it on here, lift it up, take it off. Carry it over here, lift it up, take it off. And stage the roofing up there. And then we'll have to put the man basket back on and then slowly work the panels down. We can literally just take this contraption off right where it stays. And it just stays there. Take it off, go get the man basket, work to get the roofing on, come over here, put more roofing on, lift it up, and it's just gonna take a while. Like, that's all I can see right now. Because I don't trust this getting boomed out across the roof. What I wanna do is actually add a little bit of ballast to that side, because once you get close to the 45 mark, you actually are crossing. If you go past 45, you're gonna go over center. And then it's gonna swing down and it's gonna be a train wreck going the other way. So we wanna make sure that we can go to 45 and beyond, and it really wants to lay down that way. Like, being balanced is fine until you hit 45 degrees and then you're in bad shape. So I think it'll work, but
a little more fine tuning.
I wanna fine tune it, and then I wanna just do some real, like, primitive testing. Then I'll feel more comfortable. And I feel like worst case scenario, we basically walk the pieces of roofing across the roof, which is what we didn't want to have to do, but if we have to, we will. 34 trips across the roof. Well, it's safe to say that we didn't get anywhere near as far as we wanted to tonight, but we are making headway, and this contraption does appear that it's going to work. I don't think there's an instruction manual for this, and I'm sure we're making it way too hard, but that's what happens when you kind of have never done this before, and I guess there's no intuitive way to tackle this problem. The challenges seem to be how to stage the roofing without risking having to pull roofing across the top of each other. So it looks to me like we're going to have to bring up every single piece of roofing one piece at a time so that we don't have to stack anything on top of each other and we don't risk scratching any of the roofing. I guess we might be able to stack them back to back instead of face to face. That's something I hadn't really thought about. That's going to work pretty well for this side. I think the three of us together, one in the forklift, one below, pulling on the rope to get the roof angle correct, and then maybe one of us on the ridge there pulling this up and hooking it onto a cleat, and then we'll kind of do that across the roof to stage the roofing. That's not really going to work on the other side because of the tree. We can do it maybe about a third of the way down the roof. It's so typical of a project when we first start it that we've never done before and shares pretty much nothing in common with every other stage of the build, to just be fraught with problems and confusion. Day one, we rarely get any measurable or visible progress done. In this case, it doesn't look like we've done anything. I think tomorrow we'll probably make more headway. Today's been kind of a weird day. Energy's been weird. We have really not been looking forward to this project for this exact reason. It's difficult. We don't really have any extra material, and it just is hard on the mind. It'll be nice when the roof is done. It'll feel really satisfying. It'll feel satisfying when the first piece of roofing is on. We're gonna hang it up, eat some dinner, enjoy a little bit of time together, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.